Once upon a time, in a far-off land, there existed a magical kingdom called Mystoria. The kingdom was ruled by a powerful sorceress named Queen Seraphina, who had the ability to control the elements and wield magic beyond any mortal's imagination. One day, a young peasant girl named Lyra stumbled upon a hidden portal that transported her to the mystical world of Mystoria. There, she discovered that she possessed an ancient and powerful magic that had been dormant within her all her life. Queen Seraphina, who had been searching for a worthy successor to the throne, sensed Lyra's arrival and saw in her the potential to become the next ruler of Mystoria. The queen took Lyra under her wing and began to train her in the ways of magic. As Lyra grew in strength and skill, she became aware of a dark force that threatened the safety and stability of Mystoria. An evil sorcerer named Malachi had risen to power and was bent on destroying the kingdom and enslaving its people. With Queen Seraphina's guidance, Lyra set out to confront Malachi and put an end to his tyrannical reign. Along the way, she met a group of unlikely allies, including a rogue thief, a wise old sage, and a fierce warrior princess. Together, they battled Malachi's army of dark creatures and faced impossible odds. But through the power of their friendship and the strength of their magic, they emerged victorious and saved the kingdom from destruction. Lyra was crowned the new queen of Mystoria, and she ruled with fairness, compassion, and the same wisdom that had been instilled in her by Queen Seraphina. And although she knew that there would always be new threats to her kingdom, she was confident that, with the help of her friends and the magic of Mystoria, she would always emerge victorious. As Queen Lyra settled into her role as ruler of Mystoria, she realized that there were still many secrets and mysteries that lay hidden within the kingdom. With the help of her advisors, she began to explore the ancient ruins and forgotten tombs scattered throughout the land. One day, while on an expedition deep in the heart of Mystoria, Queen Lyra and her companions stumbled upon a hidden chamber that had been sealed for centuries. Inside, they found a glowing crystal that pulsed with a powerful magic. As Queen Lyra reached out to touch the crystal, she was transported to a different realm, a place unlike any she had ever seen before. The sky was a deep shade of purple, and the ground was covered in shimmering crystals that glowed with a rainbow of colors. In this new world, Queen Lyra met a group of beings unlike any she had ever encountered before. They were called the Luminescents, and they were a race of magical creatures that had been living in secret for eons. Queen Lyra was fascinated by the Luminescents and their magical abilities. She learned that they possessed an ancient magic that had been lost to the people of Mystoria for generations. Determined to learn more, Queen Lyra embarked on a journey to discover the secrets of the Luminescents' magic. With the help of her companions and the guidance of the luminescent elders, she learned to harness the power of light and create spells that were beyond anything she had ever imagined. With her newfound magic, Queen Lyra returned to Mystoria and began to use her powers to protect her kingdom and its people. She forged alliances with neighboring lands and worked tirelessly to maintain peace and stability throughout the realm. And although there were still threats that loomed on the horizon, Queen Lyra was confident that, with the help of her friends and the power of her magic, she would be able to face any challenge that came her way. As Queen Lyra's reign continued, Mystoria flourished under her leadership. The kingdom became a place of wonder and enchantment, where magic was celebrated and embraced. People from all over the world came to Mystoria to witness the marvels that Queen Lyra had brought to life. The kingdom's markets were filled with exotic goods, and its streets were lined with performers and street magicians. But with this newfound prosperity came new dangers. Jealous rulers from neighboring kingdoms sought to undermine Nestoria's power, and dark forces began to gather on the horizon. Queen Lyra knew that she needed to act fast to protect her people and her kingdom. She gathered her advisors and her friends and devised a plan to confront the looming threat. With the power of her magic, Queen Lyra led her armies into battle against the forces of darkness. The battle was long and grueling, with many casualties on both sides. But in the end, Queen Lyra emerged victorious. The forces of darkness were defeated, and Nestoria was once again safe. The people of Nestoria celebrated Queen Lyra's victory with great fanfare. They hailed her as a hero and a savior, and her reputation as a powerful and wise ruler only grew. And as the years went on, Queen Lyra continued to rule with grace and wisdom. She passed down her knowledge of magic to a new generation of sorcerers and worked tirelessly to ensure that her kingdom remained safe and prosperous for years to come. And so, Nestoria remained a land of wonder and enchantment, where magic thrived and anything was possible. All thanks to the leadership and vision of its greatest queen, Lyra. Despite the many years of peace and prosperity that followed Queen Lyra's victory, Nestoria faced new challenges in the years that followed. As the kingdom grew and expanded, its borders came into conflict with neighboring lands, each seeking to expand their territory and influence. Queen Lyra, always a diplomatic leader, worked tirelessly to maintain peaceful relations with her neighbors. But there were some who could not be swayed by diplomacy. An ancient dragon, long thought to be extinct, had awoken from its slumber and had set its sights on Nestoria. The dragon was unlike anything Queen Lyra had ever faced before. Its scales were impenetrable, and its fire breath was hot enough to melt steel. Queen Lyra knew that defeating the dragon would require all of her magical prowess and the combined strength of her armies. She called upon her most powerful sorcerers and bravest warriors to join her in the fight. Together, they marched out to meet the dragon, facing it head-on in a battle that would determine the fate of Nestoria. The battle was fierce, with the dragon's fire breath scorching the earth and its massive claws tearing through entire armies. But Queen Lyra and her companions were unrelenting, using their magic and their skills to whittle away at the dragon's strength. And finally, after a grueling battle that had lasted for days, the dragon lay defeated, its body crumbling to dust. With the dragon defeated, Queen Lyra and her companions returned to Nestoria as heroes. They were celebrated as the protectors of the kingdom, and their names became legend. But Queen Lyra knew that her work was never done. She continued to rule with the same grace and wisdom that had defined her reign, always vigilant for the next challenge that would come her way. And although she faced many challenges in the years that followed, Queen Lyra always emerged victorious, earning the love and admiration of her people and securing her place as one of the greatest rulers in Nestoria's long and storied history. As Queen Lyra's reign continued, her kingdom continued to grow and prosper. New towns and cities sprung up across Nestoria, and the people lived in peace and prosperity. But despite all her success, Queen Lyra knew that her time as ruler was drawing to a close. She had ruled Nestoria for many years, and she had grown old and tired. One day, she called together her most trusted advisors and announced that she would be stepping down from the throne. The news shocked the kingdom, but Queen Lyra assured her people that she had chosen a worthy successor to take her place. That successor was a young woman named Ira, a skilled warrior and talented sorceress who had earned Queen Lyra's respect and admiration. Queen Lyra had watched Ira grow and mature over the years, and she was confident that Ira had the skills and the wisdom to lead Mystoria into a new era of greatness. With Queen Lyra's blessing, Ira ascended to the throne of Mystoria, and the kingdom entered a new era of peace and prosperity. Under Ira's leadership, Mystoria continued to grow and thrive. Ira was a wise and just ruler, beloved by her people and respected by her neighbors. She continued Queen Lyra's work of expanding the kingdom's influence and forging strong alliances with other lands. And as the years passed, Ira's own legacy grew. She led Mystoria through many trials and tribulations, always putting the needs of her people above her own desires. When she eventually passed away, Ira was mourned by all of Mystoria. But her legacy lived on, and the kingdom continued to prosper under the leadership of her successors. And so, Mystoria remained a land of wonder and enchantment, a place where magic and courage could accomplish anything. And it was all thanks to the leadership and vision of two great queens, Lyra and Ira, whose names would forever be remembered in the annals of Mystoria's history. As the centuries passed, Mystoria remained a land of magic and wonder, and the people continued to tell tales of the great queens who had shaped their history. But the kingdom faced new challenges as time went on. A new threat emerged from the east, where an evil sorcerer had risen to power and was threatening to conquer neighboring lands. Queen Lyra's successors had worked hard to maintain peaceful relations with their neighbors, but this sorcerer was different. He wielded dark magic that no one had seen before, and he had an army of fierce warriors at his command. The current queen of Mystoria, a young woman named Arya, knew that her kingdom could not stand by while this sorcerer threatened the stability of the entire region. She gathered her most trusted advisors and summoned the greatest warriors and sorcerers in the land. Together, they marched out to meet the sorcerer's army in a great battle that would determine the fate of Mystoria and its neighbors. The battle was long and grueling, with both sides suffering heavy losses. The sorcerer's magic was powerful, and his warriors were fierce and unrelenting. But Arya and her companions were determined to protect their home and their people. They fought with all their might, using their own magic and skill to counter the sorcerer's dark spells. And finally, after a long and grueling battle, Arya and her companions emerged victorious. The sorcerer lay defeated, and his army scattered to the winds. The people of Mystoria rejoiced at the news of their victory, and Arya was hailed as a hero and a savior. She had saved her kingdom and had protected the entire region from a great evil. And as she looked out over the kingdom she loved, Arya knew that her work was not yet done. She would continue to rule with the same wisdom and determination that had defined her predecessors, ensuring that Mystoria remained a land of magic and wonder for generations to come.